My cat Rolf is made almost entirely out of fluff, but in this video, I want to make him out of Lego. Recently, I've become kind of addicted, building a Lego railway around my entire house, and combining 10 Lego roller coasters into one ginormous one. But both those projects were easy. I could make it up as I went along, but now I was trying to accurately recreate a 3-dimensional thing as a Lego model, and I really didn't have a clue where to start. So I started with only 2 dimensions. The Lego website has a sort of photo converter, where you upload a picture and it turns it into pixelated Lego art. Print the design, assemble it, and voila! So this seemed like an appropriate first step. The only trouble was, well, Rolf is basically just a shadow with eyes, and when I run his photo through the software, he's basically just a shadow with eyes, and sometimes he doesn't even have any. I tried tons of different photos, but each time he looked like some kind of evil demon monster. So I took some new photos of him, outside with bright natural light, and then did the same with Bella. Exaggerate the contrast and run them through the Legoifier, and it's time for some incredibly mesmerizing time lapses. After 4 hours and some now blisteringly sore fingertips, they were complete. I don't think Bella wants you to see Rolf's, planting her chonky grey cat butt stubbornly in front of it. She did take a brief moment to look at it, but I guess she disapproves because she sat right back down in front of it again. Aside from anything, I just find pixel art wild, how something as complicated and unique as Bella's face can be reduced to just a handful of square blocks. Anyway, with that, let's add a dimension and try my hand at 3D. Now this time I'm only going to be building Rolf. Since he's one colour all over, all I have to worry about is the shape, but it all gets infinitely more difficult with Bella's different colours, stripes, and of course her donut. And besides, Bella's been the star of loads of videos lately. Rolf's been feeling left out. I do plan on building her out of Lego in the future, but for now I'm just going to focus on Rolf. My first thought was to use digital Lego software to design the model first. It's like virtual Lego, where you build something brick by brick digitally. But I found that software way too complicated. I mean, just watch me try and place one brick literally next to the other. It just wouldn't go in the right place. It seems so counterintuitive and infuriating. Granted, I could likely put in the effort and actually bother to learn how to use it, but that's not how my scatterbrain works. So instead, I ordered a ridiculous amount of Lego bricks and just started putting them together, and it felt wonderful. This is how I played with Lego as a kid. No instruction booklet, no rules, just fun, trial and error and imagination. But the end result was also like when I played with Lego as a kid. It looked nothing like Rolf, and besides, I'd massively underestimated the amount of pieces I'd need. I wanted it to be life-size. So whilst I waited for even more pieces to arrive, I thought I'd take a field trip to learn from the pros. Okay, maybe I was just using this as an excuse to go to Legoland, but they certainly had a lot of Lego models, most of them way bigger than what I was trying to build. How cool is that? And Miniland was incredible too, a Lego-made model village, providing tons of inspiration for future videos. Plus, after all that, I did eventually find a Lego cat. Seeing this was genuinely helpful. I know it might seem a bit silly, but seeing what I was trying to build in person really helped me understand how to approach the task. By the time another truly absurd amount of Lego bricks arrived a few days later, I felt a lot more prepared and ready to try again. I wanted Rolf sat up, so began with his front paws. They are a bit blocky, but I'm literally building it with blocks. Next I went for his back feet and butt, to provide the footprint on which to build. I built an extra bit on the right to make his tail, curling round to one side as he usually sits. Now when you see those giant Lego models at Legoland, sorry to ruin the illusion, but they're not entirely made of Lego. They almost always have a steel frame underneath, otherwise they'd simply collapse under their own weight or be way too fragile. Whilst I wouldn't be using a steel frame, I would be using a hidden secret beneath the black exterior, Duplo. Duplo is made by Lego, and a lot of people don't actually realise the two are compatible. A Duplo brick is twice as large as a Lego brick in every dimension, meaning that you need 8 Lego bricks to make one Duplo brick. So yeah, they save you a ton of pieces and therefore money by using them internally. At about halfway, it was time for a snack break. Well, Ralph's a lot more interested in his snack. I guess it is only half finished. With a lot more trial and error, patience, and taking things apart to rebuild differently, I eventually reached Ralph's neck. I did have to add a few pieces to correct it here and there, which means they're not properly anchored in with all the other bricks, but I was generally pleased with how it was looking. His head was a lot more difficult, however. It would be almost impossible to convincingly replicate precisely, whilst limited only to the proportions of Lego bricks, so I was aiming for a more cartoonish version, similar to the drawing of him I've used for years. I used jutting out bricks on his cheeks to replicate the tufts of hair, and grey bricks as the grey hair that sprouts like wildflowers from his ears. Ralph was finished, or rather, I'm gonna call him Rolf. Ralph and Rolf, isn't that just marvellous? Okay, Rolf's getting dizzy. Time for them to get acquainted. Ralph liked Rolf so much he started licking him to show his affection. I'm kidding, of course. I wish that's what happened, but I had to bribe him with cat yogurt. In reality, he was completely and utterly disinterested, and now my 50-hour Lego creation smells like cat food. I tried in the catio, on the centre platform and the high-up shelf, but once again nada. Oh Ralph, why must you always do this to me? Bella certainly likes Rolf more than she likes the real Ralph, again licking and grooming him, this time without any bribery or persuasion. I'm guessing she could smell some leftover slivery cat residue. Delicious. But she was much happier to sit and pose next to Ralph than Rolf was. I mean Rolf than Ralph was. This is getting confusing. I guess after all that, it's ultimately my opinion that really matters here, and I quite like it. I mean, it's alright. And after having Rolf around for a few days, I found an unexpected side effect. I kept mistaking him for Ralph, like all the time. Each time I'd feel stupid for getting caught out again, but then I would do it again just moments later. I like to imagine Bella keeps getting the two confused as well, but let's be honest, she looks permanently confused anyway, so it's hard to tell.